Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9. I'm Paul Kretschmer. In the second of 2 days of conversation with Derek Baker, the principal of DKB and Associates, a full-service public relations, marketing, communications, and editorial services consultancy. He continues to talk about how he serves his clients.
And then we take a look at kind of what you are currently doing, and we look at what's going well, where are there gaps, what's maybe not going as well. There's really three ways, right, that you can increase revenue from fundraising, and you're either going to win new donors, you're going to do a better job of keeping the donors that you have, or you're going to have your existing donors increase the amount that they give. And so we'll typically look at all three of those different areas. The work that we have done with radio stations, we've actually done a fair bit of work with radio stations around the country. Radio stations are good at winning new donors, because they have the golden microphone and access to the airwaves, and a lot of them do kind of on-air fundraising, and so they do a good job of gaining those gifts, those contributions when they do those kind of drives. What we've seen, I wouldn't know anything about your particular situation without digging into it, but what we've seen with many radio stations is they're not as good at keeping and lifting donors. And so we might come in, if we saw the same thing, we'd help you create a strategy and a plan to say, okay, the donors that we are winning, how can we do better at kind of keeping their support, retaining their support, and then elevating kind of their partnerships, that they feel a little more engaged and have more connectivity, more relationship, and with a higher level and longer term support. It's harder and harder today to win new donors. It's for a number of different reasons. Our firm just did a pretty significant research study on this that we're going to be publishing in upcoming weeks. But there's a distrust across our society of institutions in general, and nonprofits are getting caught up in that, I think, as much as any others. And some of that is generational, some of that is just circumstantial for things that have happened in our culture. But you have to earn that trust, and then once you earn it, you really want to keep it. It's a lot easier to keep supporters and keep partners in your circles than to try to keep winning new ones. It's more expensive and more challenging to win new ones. A little different for radio stations because you've got that microphone, but as a rule, it's more cost effective to try to keep your donors and lift their involvement to higher levels than it is to win new ones.
When it comes to an organization like yours, are you recruiting for personnel that meet some kind of an acid test in terms of what the firm's philosophy under your direction is, or are you also open to bringing in new staff who have particular skills and assets that may not line up with your personal feelings so closely, but perhaps would like to have them on board just the same, either for their skill level or because they bring an alternative perspective that maybe you think you should be aware of in order to use it as a yardstick against how well you're doing with the people or the philosophies that your organization might agree with?
Yeah, so for us, the decision is really at the front end of partnership with an organization. We'll decide if we're going to work, if they're a good alignment for us, if they're a good fit for us. Once we make that decision, we're really looking at the interests and needs of the client. And so if we're doing recruitment for the client, we do a lot of recruitment for fundraising staff, but we also do recruitment for other positions and other roles in our client organizations. But we're really then looking at, if a client asks us, if an organization asks us, for instance, if the Heritage Foundation were to say, hey, we want your help recruiting somebody for this role, we're going to really try to make sure that we have kind of three things, right? One is that there's missional fit, that whoever we recruit in that position has a missional alignment with the organization, with the Heritage Foundation or any other client. The second is that we want to make sure that they have the skills to do the job, right? That they have the credentials to do the job, and that, have they done it before? The best predictor of future performance is past performance. And so, do they have a track record of success? And then the third one is really, cultural fit. Each organization has got a different organizational culture, and I think it's really important. We work with some clients, for instance, that are big national bureaucratic organizations that take a long time to make decisions. And if you've got somebody who's highly entrepreneurial and wants to really build something, grow something, they're not going to fit in that culture. And so you want to get those three in alignment: missional fit, skills, to fit the job, and the cultural fit. The skills piece of it is the easiest piece of it to fit, right? That's the easiest piece to find. Especially with today's technology that's available, LinkedIn and other ways, you can match. Right? It's not hard to match a skill set with a role. Where it gets a lot harder to find the right match is to match all three of those elements together to get the right individual for a particular role and responsibility.
Do you have clients all over the country, or do you have representation from certain areas of the country where things are going on that are more likely to benefit from the kind of support and entrepreneurship type of characteristics that you mentioned?
Yeah, we really work in any given time all over the country. I think we have worked in every state in the country, including Alaska and Hawaii. We actually have a client in Hawaii right now. We've worked up in Canada. We've done some work overseas. So we really work fairly broadly. We tend to do most of our work in the faith-based space, but not exclusively. But a conservative organization like Heritage Foundation obviously fits within that as well. But we really do work across the whole country. We have offices kind of in Raleigh and Dallas, in North Carolina and Texas. But we have team members who work virtually. A lot of our team members work virtually, and they're all over the country.
Have you found that to be a completely successful way to do business, given that if people are working from their own locations, there tends to be less of the elbow-rubbing collaborative moments than might otherwise be under a traditional model?
Yeah, we've had this. We've had this model long before it became common with COVID. Our professional staff, our consulting team, our client service team tend to work. They travel a lot. It almost doesn't matter where they are, and we're looking for folks in those roles that have a sense of kind of commitment and responsibility, and that they don't really need to be directed. They're very self-directed and self-motivated. On the other hand, we also have these two offices where a lot of our administrative folks are. And I think, when it comes to the administrative side, we feel like there's benefits in having an office-based environment. And so we have made some exceptions to that, particularly post-COVID, but we still kind of lean towards kind of having our office teams located on site in one of those two offices. But obviously in today's day and age, things are changing. So we have shrunk kind of our actual office space a little bit as well, to accommodate that.
Thank you very much for your willingness to spend some time with me on a business afternoon, sir. I've found your thoughts very provoking for me personally.
Good, I appreciate it. Well, thanks for taking the time to have this discussion.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day then.
You too. Bye.
My thanks once again to Derek Baker for spending some time with me over the phone for today and yesterday's WIHS Journal broadcast. For further information, call us at 860-346-1049, 860-346-1049, or email us at wihsradio.org, office at wihsradio.org. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Paul Kretschmer on the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 WIHS.